Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with the design team post for Scrapping for Less. I am using the January release that is a Scrapping for Less release. The stamps, I don't end up using the papers this time. I will be using that in the next video, but not in this one. It's Winter Pinks as part of this release, and you can see that paper is just perfect for these winter cards with fairies and fairy houses and whatnot. So we will stick that aside. But what I'm going to be using is Winter Fairies, the stamp set that has the two fairies, one that's sleeping on a moon and the other one that's sitting there with her wand. And then the fairy house is the other one that I will also be using. I'm going to be creating some masks for these, because I'm going to be doing a single layer card. So I'm going to be masking some of the images as I stamp them onto the card. And right there, I'm just trying to figure out kind of where I want everything and where I'm going to be placing the stamped images for the panel. Now this is an A2 size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and I'm going to be making a scene with the fairy that has her wand kind of floating there, the house, and then some of the trees. So you see I'm masking those, and then I am going to put the trees kind of where I want them. Now to mask, in case you don't know, but to mask, whatever you want to be in the front, you have to stamp first. So you're kind of going in reverse order of how you want it to look. So if you want the trees behind the house, you have to stamp the house first and then mask it and then stamp the trees. Same thing with the fairy. Since I wanted her front, I had to stamp her first, mask it, then stamp the trees. So that's kind of how you do that. So I decided I was going to, like I said, create this scene, so I just drew in some hills with my pencil real light, and then I'll highlight those and color them as I'm going through this and coloring them. These are all of the markers that I used for the coloring, and then kind of while this coloring is going on, I'm going to read you these sentiments from these sets because some of them are just absolutely adorable. So with the Winter Fairy House, you receive the one sentiment that says, "May you touch dragonflies and stars, dance with fairies, and talk to the moon." I love that sentiment. Warm winter, have a fairy. Those are separate stamps, so you can use them in different areas. And then the sentiment that I used on this card is, "Fairy blessings coming your way." And then you have that cute little fairy house that is part of that. Then in the area, or in the Winter Fairies stamp set, you receive the two fairly large stamps. They're probably, let me actually measure them here since I'm going to be looking at this anyway. They are about, both of them are close to, well, the standing fairy is about 3 inches, and the moon one is about 2 3/4 inches. So those are pretty large stamps, and they're super cute. And I don't know if you know, but our very own Crystal from our design team drew those, so I think those are just absolutely adorable. Then you also receive a tree, a snowflake, like a snowball or something that you can use with that for the lights that are above. I don't know if you saw Crystal's card from earlier in the month, but she used that one stamp with the strings, and when I first got this, I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and I was thinking they were lights, and I was thinking of actually just using those as lights on a card, or kind of like, you have the different shapes when you buy the lights. But then when she made the card and added the circles onto it to create the lights, I thought it was absolutely genius. So for me, that was kind of a big wake-up call that I did not realize that's what it was for. But you can use that small circular looking stamp to do that as well. The sentiments that you received with this are happy birthday, a warm fairy hello, winter, just the word wishes, the word fairy, and the word bright. So you can kind of create your own sentiments with this and put them together how you need them. So I'm just going to be finishing up the coloring here, and when I get to the hills I'll kind of walk through what I did to kind of create the scene itself, because at this point it's just kind of the stamping and it doesn't really look like too much, but kind of once you put the hills in it, I think that just gives it a lot of texture and depth as part of the card. So after I created this card, I went back and I was looking, and it kind of, the fairy house reminded me of a schoolhouse, and I was thinking maybe I should have used a different color than the red. I like the red, but I don't know, you never think what you do, I guess, is perfect. So here I am. I'm taking the cool grays with the Copic colors. I am using C3, C1, and COO, and I followed the line with the C3, and then underneath that line I followed with the C1, and then underneath that I followed, and I blended out, or down I guess I should say, because you don't want to go up, you want to make sure you just go down when you're blending them. And then I took the clear blender, or the zero marker, the blending marker, and just kind of kept fanning that out so that it blended out, but you still got the effect of the snow hills. And then I just put a little bit underneath her feet. Then I used the real light B's, or the blues, the BOO, and BOOO, or 00, I'm sorry, not O, it's 000, for the sky. And I did nothing to the sky other than just kind of color it in to give it a little background color. But I think that the hills turned out really well, and they were very simple. You just drew some wavy lines and then just lined them. So that's a real simple background scene to be able to make, but it gives your card a lot of depth and a lot of vision. Now here I had it zoomed in and I forgot to zoom it out, so you're going to kind of see me stamp the sentiment there, and then I will zoom out. I already have the sequins on there, so I put a couple iridescent sequins, and I also use the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen, and I use that just on a few areas, on the snow hills, on her dress accents, on the wand, and things like that. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out a couple other videos and head over to Scrapping for Less to grab this release. Thanks for joining me.